Hello friends, my name is Abhirami and I am here to discuss with you about today's topic, that is vitamin C. So first we'll start off with the histological perspective of vitamin C. So actually the vitamin C deficiency leads to a disease called scurvy, and the first mention of scurvy was in the Ebers Papyrus. Ebers Papyrus is actually an Egyptian record which records all the herbal medicine, and the first mention of scurvy was present in the Ebers Papyrus in 1500 BC. And after that, Vasco da Gama and his crew went out sailing, and 2 by 3rd of his crew died because of scurvy. And then James Lind, James Lind, he published a book called Treatise of Scurvy. This happened in 1753, and he got called as the father of clinical trials because of this. And then the British soldiers, they understood that if you take lime juice, you will be less susceptible to scurvy. So they started taking lime juice, and because of that they were called as limeys, and this happened in 1795. And then Zilva and associates found out that the anti-scorbutic factor is a reducing agent. The anti-scorbutic factor is the one that fights against scurvy. So they found out through their experiments that it is a reducing agent. This happened in 1928. And then came a scientist called Albert Szent-Györgyi. He isolated the anti-scorbutic factor and he named it as the hexuronic acid in 1930, and he got the Nobel Prize for this in 1937. And then came another scientist who is Haworth. Haworth found out the molecular structure of the anti-scorbutic factor or vitamin C, and this happened in 1933. He got Nobel Prize for this in 1937. He also renamed the hexuronic acid as the ascorbic acid. Now let's move on to the next topic, that is the chemistry of vitamin C. So vitamin C is unstable to heat, alkali and storage. So while cooking, 70% of the vitamin C in the food gets destroyed because it is unstable to heat. Okay, and the vitamin C has a structure that is very similar to that of carbohydrates. It has enediol carbon atoms, which increases its power as a reducing agent. Okay, so what that means is, in those carbon atoms there are double bonds and there is 2 hydroxyl groups. And there are 3 forms of vitamin C: L-ascorbic acid, dehydroascorbic acid and D-ascorbic acid. Out of this, the D-ascorbic acid does not have any anti-scorbutic factor, so it is not helpful to us. But L-ascorbic acid and dehydroascorbic acid have the anti-scorbutic factor, so it's very useful to us as a nutrient. Okay, now let's move on to the next topic, that is the biosynthesis of vitamin C. So bats, guinea pigs and other higher primates cannot synthesize vitamin C by themselves, but other plants and animals can synthesize vitamin C through glucose. Okay, so why these 4 cannot synthesize vitamin C by themselves is they lack a certain enzyme called the gulonolactone oxidase enzyme, and because of this they cannot complete the gulonolactone oxidase step that is required to complete the process of forming vitamin C from the glucose. Okay, so why can't they form this enzyme? Because this particular gene for forming this enzyme got deleted. Okay, so but we can always take the vitamin C through our diet, because the vitamin C is required in very small quantities, so it can be easily substituted through our diet. Now let's talk about the next topic, that is the metabolism of vitamin C. Vitamin C is easily absorbed in the intestine, especially because it is water soluble. And vitamin C tests positive for Benedict's test. Actually, vitamin C is water soluble, so it gets excreted, and if you test the urine for Benedict's test, then it will come out positive, because vitamin C is a reducing agent and is present in the urine. So I told you that there are 3 forms of vitamin C. Out of that, L-ascorbic acid undergoes oxidation to produce dehydroascorbic acid, and dehydroascorbic acid undergoes further oxidation to produce diketo L-gulonic acid, which again undergoes oxidation to produce oxalic acid. And in urine, the vitamin C is partly excreted oxalic acid. The ascorbic acid level varies from 0.7 to 1.2 milligram per 100 milliliters of plasma, and it is present 25 centimeter cube per 100 grams of WBCs. Vitamin C is in low concentrations in women taking contraceptive pills and also in chronic alcoholics, but it is in very high concentration during wound healing because vitamin C is essential for wound healing. Now let's talk about the biochemical functions of vitamin C. The L-ascorbic acid and dehydroascorbic acid can be formed through a reversible reaction. So if L-ascorbic acid gets oxidized, it forms dehydroascorbic acid, and if the dehydroascorbic acid gets reduced, it forms the L-ascorbic acid. And the L-ascorbic acid and dehydroascorbic acid mainly they take care of all the biochemical reactions of vitamin C. The second biochemical function of vitamin C is the hydroxyproline and hydroxylysin. So hydroxyproline and hydroxylysin are formed by the hydroxylation of proline and lysin. These are two amino acids. And for this process, it requires vitamin C. And actually, the hydroxyproline and hydroxylysin have a very high clinical significance because they actually form the crosslinks in the collagen fibers. These crosslinks help in the tensile strength of the collagen fibers. So they make sure that normal supportive materials are formed. They make sure that the normal supporting tissues are formed, example for these supportive tissues are osteoid, which is a connective tissue in the bone, and then collagen and intercellular cement substance of the capillaries. Okay, the next biochemical function is tryptophan synthesis. Tryptophan undergoes hydroxylation to form 5-hydroxytryptophan, which is helpful in the formation of serotonin. And for the conversion of tryptophan into 5-hydroxytryptophan, vitamin C is needed. Then comes the tyrosine synthesis. So during tyrosine synthesis, there is an important step where p-hydroxyphenylpyruvates needs to get converted into homogeneticic acid, and this process is actually important for the formation of tyrosine, and this process is helped by the vitamin C. Next comes the iron deficiency. So our body absorbs Fe2+ or ferrous ions preferentially than to the ferric ions, that is Fe3+. So vitamin C helps in the conversion of Fe3+ into Fe2+. It reduces Fe3+ to form Fe2+, and if vitamin C is not there, then Fe3+ does not get converted into Fe2+. This leads to iron deficiency anemia. And also vitamin C helps in the reduction of folic acid into tetrahydrofolic acid. This is actually done by the enzyme folate reductase, and vitamin C helps the folate reductase. Okay. The tetrahydrofolic acid helps in the maturation of the RBCs. And vitamin C also helps to convert methemoglobin into hemoglobin. And vitamin C also helps in the steroidogenesis. So vitamin C actually is stored in the adrenal gland, and as the adrenocorticotropic hormone is secreted, the vitamin C also gets depleted, and the vitamin C also helps in the formation of bile salts from the cholesterol. The next biochemical function is that vitamin C helps reduce the risk of cataract because vitamin C is concentrated in the lens of the human eye, and if vitamin C is intaken more, then the lens will be kept healthy and the formation of cataract will be less possible. And then the next function is that vitamin C is helps in the phagocytosis. So it stimulates the phagocytosis, and also it stimulates the formation of antibodies from the lymphocytes. So that is the biochemical functions of vitamin C. I hope you like this video. Thank you for watching, and if you like this video, please like, share, subscribe and comment on it. Thank you.